the 1970s, the American psychologist Dr. Bruce K. Alexander conducted an experiment called Rat Park. Rats from different genders were placed into the so-called Rat Park, where they were free to run around and play with each other. At the same time, another group of rats were placed into small metal cages without any freedom to socialize with other rats. Alexander and his colleagues supplied the rats in both the Rat Park as well as the rats placed in isolations 2 drinking bottles, one filled with water and the other solution of morphine. They wanted to test if the rat's living condition and level of community would have an impact on the rat's preference. The experiment proved that the rats placed in isolated cages were more likely to become addicted to the morphine solution, while the rats in the park would prefer the water-filled bottle.
An important conclusion we can draw from the Rat Park experiment is that addiction is far more than about the drugs itself. It is clear that the rats who were placed alone in cages with no other community of rats were more likely to choose the bottle with morphine solution rather than the bottle filled with water. On the other hand, the rats who were placed in the so-called Rat Park, surrounded by other rats and free to play and socialize, showed to prefer the bottles with plain water. Even though some rats in the Rat Park would choose a drug-filled bottle, they wouldn't take the drugs obsessively, which meant lower risks for overdose. We can therefore understand that a social community can have a major impact in resisting the power of drugs. From the results of the experiment, we learned that it's crucial to investigate the environmental and social factors when trying to understand addiction.
From the conclusions drawn from the experiment, there was no connection made between the findings and human addiction. However, the experiment has open discussion regarding how human addiction is studied as well as treated. The Rat Park experiment has a strong message stating that addiction is more complex than just a biological response to the consumption of a drug. If only one conclusion can be extrapolated from the experiment, it would be that environmental factors are greatly powerful in determining addiction of any kind. As seen in the rats who were allowed to socialize and lived in what they called an enriched environment, they were far less inclined to take drugs, while the rats who were deprived of social engagement were shown to highly likely prefer drinking from the morphine-laden water. In conclusion, by looking at humans and reasons for their addiction, similar conclusions can be drawn since strong social and societal support is shown to positively motivate people to avoid substance abuse and lower the risk for addiction.
As the internal drives of humans and rats are similar but not exactly identical. However, it can give us a strong idea about the general flow of addiction that is occurring in today's society. It is known that good mental health combined with a strong and positive support system can create the fundamental foundation needed for maintaining sober life after addiction. This exemplifies that human beings that lack a viable or cultural life are most likely to develop an addiction. Humans that are isolated from society tend to find temporary liberation by depending on drugs, which allow them to escape their feelings and to experience an addictive existence as a replacement for a full life. We believe it is premature to say decisively if the Rat Park view of addiction is accurate to apply to humans, though it shows definitely that the ancient theory about addiction being a problem caused by the drugs itself is wrong. Humans get addicted to substances as a way of coping with their disturbances caused by society.